three more of my favorite booktubers sent me personalized book recommendations, and these three books sound so good. Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. Also welcome to a brand new reading vlog in my Reading Booktubers favorite series. Episodes 1 and 2 went up last year. This is episode 3 with 3 booktubers and bookstagrammers who are among my absolute favorites. You know what made me emotional as I spoke with these 3 booktubers and bookstagrammers? The fact that they were putting in so much effort for me. I mean, this has been a thing for me since episode 1, but this episode, these interactions just pushed me towards that peak of realization, because these booktubers, such amazing people, they did their research. They asked me which ones I've already read. They thought so carefully about which books they would like to recommend to me. So a big thank you not only to these 3 booktubers but also to the 6 people from episodes 1 and 2. See, this is a passion project for me, so to see you all participate so wholeheartedly makes me so happy and so emotional. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's start with this vlog because I'm this close to breaking down and into tears. A quick note, these booktubers are some of the best out there, each having a very unique perspective to provide with every single one of their videos. I figure you're following them already, but if you aren't, please go subscribe to them ASAP. The links to their channels are in the description box below. The first booktuber in this brand new episode is someone who you've seen on this channel before and someone I greatly admire for her grit and determination, and that booktuber is Shruti from Fandom Newbie. I don't think there's anything else that I need to say about Shruti because her videos and her content speak volumes. She is one of the hardest working people I know, and her content is always so soothing, delightful and informative. Let's see what recommendation Shruti has for me.
Hi guys, my name is Shruti and I'm from the booktube channel Fandom Newbie. First of all, thank you so much Sonali for including me in this video and giving me the chance to recommend to you one of my absolute favorite books. This was quite difficult to do because I feel like a lot of my favorite books already overlap with books that Sonali has read. And I also know that some of them are Sonali's favorite as well, like Six of Crows, The Ember Quartet, etc. And so it was a little bit difficult, but the book that I have chosen for Sonali is Lovely War by Julie Berry. Now, this is a historical fiction romance book and it basically follows the love stories of 2 couples who meet and fall in love during World War I. These are just some of the sweetest, cutest and most innocent love stories that I have ever read, and this book just had me giggling and blushing the entire time that I was reading it. Also, these love stories are narrated by Greek gods in this book. So just the entire reading experience for me was absolutely amazing and fantastic. So yep, this is the book that I have chosen. I hope you like it, Sonali. Thank you once again for including me in this video and happy reading.
Greek gods? I was sold the moment I saw Shruti's rec, and that was long before I started this vlog. So you can understand my excitement when I actually bought a copy. So I'm about to start reading this book right now because I waited long enough. Let's go. The thirsting after Greek gods. I've just finished reading Act 1 of Lovely War and I am loving this book so far. It is so well written, it is funny, it incorporates Greek mythology and gods and goddesses and Greek lore in a way that I never thought could have been done. And I think it is so creative for the author to use that particular lore. It is wonderful, it's absolutely wonderful. And then Aphrodite is telling a story about James and Hazel. This is set in 1917. This particular thread is set in 1917 and James is about to go off to the war and they meet and they're instantly attracted to each other. So they have just a week to spend with each other, and over the next few days how they just keep getting pulled closer to each other, how Aphrodite works her magic. These two characters are so sweet. The way they talk also gives you butterflies. At one point, let me just read it out to you. They are watching a play or an opera and Hazel says, "But I wish I could do something to help. Not just sit at home practicing audition pieces while the boys are over there dying." And then James leaned in closer and spoke into her ear. "Keeping the world safe for people to practice their audition pieces seems like the one good reason to fight this war. If music stops and art ceases and beauty fades, what have we then?" It's reading this in the backdrop of when there is a genocide happening and when there is literally art being stolen by AI and being turned into these shitty trends, it gave me hope for 1 second. But other than James and Hazel, there's also another character that has been introduced by the god Apollo. Yes, Apollo has also made an entrance and he's talking about one particular pianist. I don't know where that is going still, but that particular character is a black character and he is part of one of the first black orchestras, all black orchestras. There hasn't been much detail yet, so I'm looking forward to reading more and finding out what exactly is going on there as well. I'm just mush at this point because this book is going so well. Last update, but the vital role that death plays in making true love possible. Death. Why is death here? What is Hades doing here? I'm so scared. So, I've been reading Lovely War and it is one of the most amazing experiences of this month, of the past couple of weeks at least. I am at page 242. I am just about to start Act 3, and the one thing that I love most about this book is that it combines fun, humor and emotion in a way that will keep you invested, because there are Greek gods and goddesses who are bickering with each other, who are fighting each other as always, but when they come to tell a story, it's about love. It's about love and war and music and whatnot. It's so fascinating to see, because while you're reading about the gods and goddesses interacting, it is fun and funny. But while you're reading about the characters themselves, you feel the angst, you feel the love, and you feel how desperate they are to be with each other. And then given the circumstances and given societal constructs, given society's rules, I feel like society's rules half are stupid, but given all of that, the way they are trying so hard, the way they long for each other. And I left the story at one such place as well. They are longing, they are waiting. It is such a brilliant idea, it feels like to me. See, usually fiction is like that. It is bringing ideas out of thin air and it is awe-inspiring. But to take something that is so known, like the conflicts, the relationships between the Greek gods and goddesses, and to turn it into something like this, to bring so much emotion into it, be it humor or anger or sadness or angst or fun or joy and love, all of this, it is such an immensely artistic and creative thing to do. I'm like, how did you come up with this idea? Half the time I'm sitting there gaping at the page, wondering, how did she come up with this? And I know it's early into the book, I'm about halfway through, I have about 200 pages more to go, but I feel like this is going to be a favorite. I don't know, I don't want to jinx it, but this is great, this is going great. So yes, I'll be on my way because I have to read more of this. Bye. Listen, I've just finished reading Act 3 of this book. I've read 80 pages of it in this session. And my god, what is this book? It's quickly turned into one of heartbreak and gut punches. There's so much military action and the longing that I was talking about in the last update, and the angst, you just quadruple it. And then you have Act 3. And add to all of that, society's rules that I was also talking about, that is also quadrupled, and people are being complete idiots. And such extreme injustices of segregation, of misogyny, of racism, and all of this it bruised my heart. I was just gaping at the last page of Act 3, and I sat there staring off into the distance because I didn't know how to react, because I was sad, because I just felt so bad, and because I feel like the world hasn't changed that much, because James says that the world is so intent on destroying itself. People are so intent on destroying everything they see around them, and he feels that emptiness inside of him. Of course, I am no soldier. I haven't gone and fought in any wars. I cannot speak on behalf of any soldiers or any veterans of the sort, but empathy is a thing, and to see the world devolve, and to put myself in a place and time when things were so chaotic and everything was crumbling down around them, I don't even know how to feel right now, because it feels unfair that so many people had to die because of these wars. So basically in Act 3 we see more of the war part of the title, and I'm about to start Act 4, but at this point I have about 130 pages left, so I'm thinking I'll finish it tonight. I don't know, because I feel I want to know what's going on. I want a happy ending for James and Hazel and Colette and Aubrey. Aphrodite, you better have worked your charm, okay? But I don't want them to feel... Hi, hello. So yesterday I finished reading A Lovely War by Julie Berry, and in a nutshell, this book is fantastic. And I see what Shruti was talking about when she recommended this book to me, and about what she was saying about this book, and I see why she loves it so much, because now I love it too. Right off the bat, before I tell you my final thoughts and feelings about this book, let me say that the score is 1 of 3. And this is a huge win. This is one of my favorite books, and you'll see me talk about this book over and over again, so be prepared for that. But this is a book that is so beautiful. It so wonderfully combines Greek mythology and mentions of war and its effects on soldiers and everyone's psyche. It is so many things at once. It is funny, it is poignant, it is sad, it is happy, it is hopeful, and it just gives you that wow, that love in this world, love makes everything better. Even if there's war, love does make everything better. There was one point during the last, I think 50 pages or so, where I was like, but I don't have footage of that part because I was so engrossed and I was so taken in by the story, and I was so focused on the fact that I had to know what's happening next. I had to know what happened to these 4 characters. I bawled like a baby, and you know me, if a book makes me cry, I'm going to hold on to it forever. I love this book. I love this book so much. This is fast paced. It is beautifully written. It is fast paced. The story moves along pretty quickly. It's not sluggish or anything, and it does all of this while talking about important topics. It talks about racism, it talks about war, it talks about the effects that war has on the general population. It also has depictions of how society's rules were so restrictive for women, and it brings all of these together and weaves it into such a coherent, a well-structured and an impactful story that will stay with you. One fact about this book that I love the most is that the back and forth between love and war and the importance of love over war is shown not only in the stories of these four humans. It also translates into the stories of the gods and goddesses. Of course, this narration of the gods and goddesses is much more humorous than that of the humans, because the gods and goddesses are immortal, and it's the usual banter between brothers and sisters, and you know you know what I'm trying to say. There is fun, there is humor, there is sorrow, there is joy, there is heartbreak, wanting to do the right thing for someone you love. And at one point I did want to shake these characters and say, what are you doing? Don't do this. Like, that's not what you really want. But I was also like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. And then I go back to don't do this. But this book, my god, this book is so good. I love it. Thank you, Shruti, for recommending this to me. It is a resounding success, if I may, and love it. The second booktuber who's recommending one of her favorite books to me is one of my favorite creators across the board, be it Bookstagram or Booktube, and that is Pooja from A Book by the Window. Pooja is someone whose views on life are so refreshing to see, be it the fully feeling of everyday emotions, or being compassionate to yourself, or pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. She somehow manages to echo your innermost thoughts on any given day. And that's just one reason why I love her and her content so much. Let's see what book Pooja is recommending to me.
Hi, this is Pooja at A Book by the Window. I'm really excited to be featuring on Sonali's channel today. The book that I'm going to recommend is one of my favorite books of all the time. Although I read this book a few years ago, it's still fresh as day in my mind, mostly because it holds a personal connection. It holds a very soft corner in my heart. I read it at a time where I really think I needed a book like that, and ever since then, I am always recommending this book to friends and family. So when Sonali reached out to me, it took me a few guesses to see if there's a book that she hasn't read already that is my personal favorite, and thankfully, we could agree on this book that she can read as part of this challenge. This book is set in Japan, and it is the story of an old woman who is experiencing loneliness, grief, and the various facets of life as it goes. The beauty of Japanese literature is always that it picks up the ordinary, the mundane, and makes it seem beautiful, larger than life, and just talks about life for what it is, a stream of days, events, and moments that fill your days, and it is to be cherished, and it is to be felt grateful for even in the bad days. So I hope you like this book as much as I liked it. The book that I'm talking about is Sweet Bean Paste. I don't want to give any spoilers. I'm really excited to see how you like this book and if you relate to this as much as I did. Enough said. I hope you really do enjoy this book, but no pressure. I'm honestly just really happy to recommend this book to you and see what are your thoughts about it.
I mean, a Japanese translation, especially from someone you admire? Absolutely, if you ask me. It's time to read Pooja's rec to me, which is Sweet Bean Paste, written by Durian Sukegawa and translated from Japanese into English by Alison Watts. Let's go. I'm about 43 pages into this book and I'm liking the writing. I mean, it's not something out of this world. It's just some basics, introductory stuff, in which we see Sentaro, who runs a dorayaki shop, and he is looking for someone to help him around the shop, more for company than for, to take the load off his shoulders or something. And a 76-year-old woman comes and offers to work, but he is like, oh no, she's very old, I can't take her. But then she manages to convince him, and now they're both working, and with the help of her sweet bean paste, he has managed to make the best dorayaki that shop has ever made. So that's where we're at. I don't see what is under it all at this point in time, because we've only seen their interactions, and we've seen that he is an aspiring writer, and he was, I think, in prison. Under some circumstances, he's now in debt to the owner of the shop, and he can't find time to write because he has to run the shop. There's not much else going on. We are just seeing how Tokue, who is the 76-year-old woman who has come to work for Sentaro, we are just seeing that. But I'm really looking forward to see how these two's relationship morphs and changes over the next how many ever pages, because it is interesting, because a guy of this age and a woman of this age who has been making sweet bean paste for far longer than this guy has been alive. So how does this generation gap work? And what is all this secret that's going on even in Tokue's life? It's not just him having secrets, it's her as well. This was just an initial thoughts kind of thing, because I'm at 44 pages, and this is usually when I come and give you my initial thoughts. So yes, I'm going to sit back and read Sweet Bean Paste for a bit. Although I also have to say that the thought of the sweet bean paste, somehow I've never had it, but my mouth has been watering. Hi again. So I've just finished reading chapter 13 of Sweet Bean Paste, and I'm on page 83 right now. I'm still liking the story and how it's going, but it's becoming darker. Like in the blurb, it was said that Tokue, I think that's how the name is pronounced. I'm really sorry if I'm butchering the name, but she was supposed to have a dark secret of sorts, and those secrets are coming out. I mean, we don't really know at this point whether it's true or not, because there's still a little bit of confession time from her, or there's a discussion that needs to happen between Sentaro and her. But it's all happening in the background. Other people are talking to Sentaro and all of that. I'm not sure where we are at the moment. It's slow, but I think it's a great discussion about how people are treated, especially people who are in positions like Tokue is. I'm really liking that part, but I do think that there are other parts that are rather slow in my opinion. But maybe that is the whole point of this, because this is one kind of a healing fiction sort of genre, and I usually like healing fiction a lot. Comfort fiction, healing fiction, Japanese literature is my thing. If you've seen me talk about What You're Looking For in the Library or Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I love such stories. So I think this is going to be one such book as well, but it's only taking some time to get to that point. I mean, this is a short book. It has, I think, 213 pages in all, and I'm on page 83, so it's not going to be long before I get to the climax of sorts. But at this point, I'm not yet giving up on the book, because it's really good so far. I just think that in some places it's getting a little slow and a little draggy. Not much that I can just say, oh, I can't read this anymore, or something of that sort. It's just that I can feel that. as you have seen, I have been reading Sweet Bean Paste. We finally crossed that point where the whole essence of Tokue's story has come out. And the way it has sucker punched me, we were going somewhere and I started reading from where I left off on page 83 or whatever, and I was this close to bursting into tears, because that was where everything sort of cleared up and things became clearer about what was going on in the story and what was actually part of Tokue's life. That's what this book has done, and that was only, I think, about 4 or 5 pages. That was just one chapter. And now that I have read about 55 pages of the book today, and oh my god, the emotion, the connection, the human connection, the human doubts, and what Sentaro is going through, what he is thinking while he's trying to grasp what he's learning, and he's trying to be humane, but he's obviously also human, so he has questions, he has doubts, and there's this whole thing going on, and I am just here like, and I think it all boils down to this one question: why are humans the way we are? Why do we do whatever it is that we do? Why do we discriminate? Why do we feel the need to not use our brains, basically, for first of all, but also why do we feel the need to put others down because of our own fears? And those fears make sure that we don't think properly, we don't think in a logical manner before doing something. And if you read this book, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But this is such a fantastic book. I think I have about 70 more pages to go. I don't even know. I don't want this book to end. And the friendship that Sentaro and Tokue and Wakana have forged, these 3 people, I find it to be so heartwarming, and it's unexpected. It's an unexpected friendship. It's like found family and all. To see that flourish, given the circumstances, given societal conditions, given societal opinions, it's so heartwarming and it feels so good. I'm loving this book so far. And I have a feeling the count for this video is going to be 2 out of 3 at the end of it, but let's not preempt anything. I have about 71 pages to go, and I'm thinking I will finish this book either tonight or tomorrow. Hi there! So a few days ago I finished reading Pooja's recommendation to me, which was Sweet Bean Paste, and I really liked it. I was expecting to love it by the end of the story because it is such a fantastic tale of how life and humanity are supposed to be versus how they actually are. But I somehow felt like things were left unfinished towards the end. There was no closure to what Sentaro was feeling, to what he was doing. What did he do with all the utensils that he got? What exactly happened to his career, to his shop? I would have loved to know that, although there's no compulsion as such. In that sense, in that thread, it is an open ending. And to learn what Tokue was feeling during those times and what these two feel, like Sentaro and Wakana, it was emotional. Even though Sentaro could come off as like a little indifferent at times, he wants to be indifferent but he isn't indifferent, so that wannabe indifference sort of makes you feel like he is pulling away. So there were just those couple of bits that I thought were a bit off. I wanted so much to find out what exactly happened, how he pulls himself up by the bootstraps and he gets back on track or something, but it somehow left me feeling a little unsatisfied. Although the main track of the story delivers fantastically well, this somewhat reduces that appeal to me. I don't know why. I'm still going to consider this a win because that main track of the story that I was talking about is fantastic. It was very eye-opening. It was very well written as well. Although it got a little stretchy at times, it did drag a bit. But on the whole, I would consider this book a win, and I would definitely recommend it to people who are looking for feel-good, comforting fiction, not feel good maybe, but comforting fiction, healing fiction. So this is one that despite everything, it puts a smile on my face. It gives me hope for the future, and it helps me think of all these lessons in the most positive way ever. Yes, it does make me furious sometimes at how rotten humanity can be, but it also shows me how good humanity can be, how good community, how good found family can be. And this is a great testament to that. So I'm going to count this as a win. So it's 2 out of 3 for this episode, and I'm so happy. And thank you, Pooja, for recommending this book to me. I see. So the third booktuber who is recommending her favorite book to me today is one of the first Indian bookstagrammers that I followed. So when she started her own booktube channel, I was among the first to subscribe and start watching her videos, and that booktuber is Sukhaja from Bookish Bulletin. Sukhaja has a master's in English literature, and her bookish vlogs, her deep dives and her book reviews are nuanced, layered and well put together. Let's see what book Sukhaja is recommending to me.
My name is Sukhaja. I'm from the Bookish Bulletin YouTube channel, and Sonali has asked me to recommend a book to her. So I'm going to be recommending a very special historical fiction book that I thoroughly enjoyed reading, and that is by none other than Maggie O'Farrell. Maggie O'Farrell is one of my favorite historical fiction authors, and if you haven't read any of her books, this particular book might be a great place to start. The Marriage Portrait. This is based on a poem that was written by Robert Browning. It's called The Last Duchess, and it's about the Duchess of Ferrara, who was married to the Duke back in the 16th century, I think, in Italy. It's about her life, but the poem kind of portrays her as a very oppressed figure, somebody who doesn't really have a voice. In the poem, she is trapped inside a portrait, and the Duke is the one who's taking people and showing the portrait to them. So she's helpless and she's just trapped there for eternity. Nobody really knows her backstory. The reason I really love this book is because Maggie O'Farrell takes this character out of history, out of oblivion, and breathes new life into her by giving us a fictionalized retelling of what the life of the Duchess of Ferrara might have been. So while this is not based on fact, the way Maggie O'Farrell executes this without any flaws, I think that is the beauty of this book. It keeps you gripped from start to finish. You see a duchess who is very empowered for her day and age. She is young and naive, and she's married to a man whom she suspects is out to kill her. Despite knowing this fact, she has the inner strength to kind of keep going on, and the tact in which she navigates situations with the Duke, and ultimately the ending was really done very well. I was so happy when I read the ending, and I was like, only Maggie O'Farrell can do this. So this is my recommendation to you, Sonali. Happy reading.
Now, I don't know a lot about Renaissance Italy, so in addition to this being a possibility of a great reading time, this is something that will teach me something new about something old as well. And for that, I got myself a used copy of the book, which I must say is in great condition, and it's a hardcover no less. I know I say this about every book, but I really can't wait to start reading this. Every time I see someone say where a woman's place is supposed to be, it pisses me the hell off, and especially when it is internalized, it angers me even further. Even if it is historical fiction, it angers me even more because there have been millennia where women have been subjected to being relegated to second place. So this is on page 3. Lucrezia had wanted to spur her horse, to press her heels into its flank and feel its hoofs fly over the stones and soil, to move through the flat landscape of the valley at speed. But she knew she must not, that her place was behind or next to him, if invited, never in front. So on they trotted. She knew her place was behind or next to him. Apparently you can never overtake a man. Stupidity of it all. Later, she will chastise herself for her distraction, her inattention. It has been drummed into her by physicians and priests alike that the character of a child is determined by the mother's thoughts at the moment of conception. Lucrezia de Medici was a member of the House of Medici and was married Duchess Consort of Ferrara. She was married at 13. Wow. At the request of his mother-in-law, the hereditary Prince of Ferrara agreed to postpone the wedding night until such time as his bride reached sexual maturity. Oh my god. What a nice man. Nice. I'm about 21 pages into this book and I am really liking the writing. It is exquisite. I see why Sukhaja likes this book so much, why it's one of her favorites of all time. This is about Lucrezia Medici, who was... Okay, this is a very tricky subject. If you've seen in the last clip that I was googling who all of these people were, but this book is a fictionalized account of Lucrezia's life, but Lucrezia Medici actually existed. There are the characters in this book actually existed, at least the main characters that we know, the Medici family, the Duke of Ferrara, and all of these characters actually existed, but some details have been changed from reality to what is in the book. In the book, the Lucrezia is married off at the age of 15, but in real life she was married off at the age of 13, which is, and these characters were alive in the 1500s. So Lucrezia was born into the Medici family, and then she was married off and became the Duchess of Ferrara. Her life was cut short at the age of 16 or 17, I think. She was not even 17 when she died. It is widely accepted that she died of fever or tuberculosis, but there were a lot of rumors just after she died that said that she was murdered by her husband. And I am looking forward to see what exactly Maggie O'Farrell brings to this, how she writes Lucrezia's story and how she brings out all the historical facts but then weaves them into a hypothesis maybe. I know it's not much of an update, but it's because I'm only 21 pages into this book. I know it's not always possible or it's not always right to put your expectations on one particular text, but this is one that promises a lot of things. I just have to wait and watch whether it does deliver on those promises. It's been a few days, more than a few days in fact, since I last read The Marriage Portrait, and it's completely on me because my reading hasn't been that great and I haven't been getting that urge to pick this book up. In fact, I haven't been getting the urge to pick any book up for that matter. I pick one up, then I read a few pages, and then I have the urge to pick something else. So it's all been a mess. But today, finally, I picked this one up. This one, and I got through about 70 pages, which is great progress for a book in one day. So far in the story where I am right now is Lucrezia is getting married. The book is so well written. It is simple, but it is exquisite writing. It's neither over the top flowery nor is it too plain and simple. It's just the perfect amount that keeps you going. It keeps you in awe because of how beautifully it talks about Lucrezia's life, and it builds up that fear inside of you, even though you already know what might have happened, because there are two timelines going on. One is leading up to Lucrezia's wedding, and the other is when she is with Alfonso in their summer house or something. And when you see these two parallels going on, it's like you want to save her, but you can't do anything. And the writing is pretty languid. It takes its time. It takes its time opening up Lucrezia's life, what is happening around her, how she reacts to it, and her innermost feelings. She is the fifth of many siblings, and she constantly has this thing where she feels like she has to live up to these expectations. And to see how all of this affects her, especially in Renaissance Italy, where marriages were forged almost as soon as a girl reached puberty, where said marriages were forged for as alliances, as power moves, as something to keep the realms together or something. And to see how Lucrezia was also a pawn in all these power moves, power games sort of thing, it's very, very interesting to read. It is fast paced, it's brilliantly written. I'm loving this book. Honestly, I'm not just saying it just like that, but this is a book that needs to be savored. You need to take your time reading this book, because at one point you'll be like, why do I need to know what Lucrezia was doing when this alliance was forged, when the idea of this particular alliance was put forward? But that is a very important trait that belongs to her. She is known for being restless. She is known for being energetic. She doesn't know where to, channel all of her energy. So she runs around the palace. She's very curious about what is going on in here. She is the first one to realize that a tiger has been brought to the palace. That happens earlier in the book. I just want to reach in through time, space, dimensions. I want to reach in and pluck Lucrezia out of that particular situation. My god, this is a great, fantastic book. I see why Sukhaja loves this so much. I'm now on page 144, so I've gotten through about 13-14 pages during this time, and I know there's not a lot to discuss, but there's one thought that I have. The fact that women aren't believed hasn't changed over the centuries, especially during the 1500s, to think that they are over exaggerating when they do have that gut instinct telling them that this is what's happening to us. That hasn't changed at all. And especially when you think of it as being set around the time of the witch trials and all, although there's no parallel over here as such, but there's a pattern between every age, between every century, in the way it treats women, in the way society, the world treats women. And to see Lucrezia saying, you have to believe me, please, you have to believe me that this is what's happening, this is what he's doing, it sent a jolt through my heart. Except that at that time, men could get away with it, and a lot of them did. And anytime women brought this up, they would be branded as psychotic, that they are seeing things, that they are hallucinating, that they are just making up things in their head, that they have gone mad. They were thrown into sanitariums. And to see that in this story, and especially when Lucrezia here is just a girl, she's a teenager, and to see her in that position, it broke my heart. And I don't know what's going to happen next. There are about 290 more pages to go, and I don't know how I'm going to get through them. Not because it's a difficult book to read, language wise, it's fast paced, it's amazing, but in the way that it's about to break my heart even more than it already has. And I'm only 144 pages into this book. I'm now 215 pages into The Marriage Portrait, and it has kind of taken me on a roller coaster ride. There have been parts where I've read the descriptions of Lucrezia's surroundings in awe, and there have also been parts that have become so repetitive that I had to physically restrain myself from rolling my eyes. But that doesn't mean that the text is in any way bad. It is gorgeous writing, so descriptive that it transports you to the mountains, to the villas and the palazzos of Italy. It conjures up images of the rooms in the Delizia, the frescoes and paintings in it, the scenes that can be seen from its windows, the gardens, the river flowing outside the fortezza in Bondeno. It's all very atmospheric, and you feel the writing in your bones, be it Lucrezia tiptoeing outside or the wind whistling through the trees in the garden, the fear and tension that she feels, the relief that takes over her if only for a short period of time, and the skepticism that the people around her awaken in her. It's all a living, breathing thing. Of course, there are places that do get a little boring, but they are quickly followed by something that settles in your mind and awakens you. It's like being doused in iced water. Now, at this point, I'm 85-15 in favor of the book, which I think is pretty favorable. So I'm going to go and read a bit of this story before bed, and I'll see you in the next update. So I'm about 304 pages into this book, and I just wanted to come and talk about how much I despise Alfonso at this point. Like, I get that the timing, the setting, the circumstances were such that patriarchy was in full flow. Like, men had full control of society. They dictated what was right and what was wrong. They dictated what women needed to do, what they needed to be. But to see his behavior through the lens of today's mindset, today's society, today's gender equality, it sort of pisses me off afresh. Every time he comes onto the page, I'm like, oh no, what's he gonna do now? And every time he does something afresh, he does something completely in character for him, and something that makes me hate him just a little bit more. And I know that this is historical fiction, but it's not that hard to believe that this was how it was, because during those times women got killed, they got burned at the stake for knowing more than they should, or what society and men deemed that they should know. Women were confined to certain parts of society, certain parts of the home. You were supposed to do this, this, and this. You put one step out of line and you're gone. The duties of a woman, the duties of a wife, a mother, a sister, this is what you should aspire to. You should aspire to a nice marriage, a beneficial marriage to your father's home, so that your father's powers can increase, so that your brothers can hold their head up high or something of that sort. Then you should aspire to this husband who you can give heirs to, so you can further his bloodline. Where are you in this whole equation? And Lucrezia defies that. She wants her own personality, she wants her own self, she wants to preserve a part of herself that is just hers and not what is expected by society and by her husband and by the court and whatnot. There is one place where that was probably the first time that I was shocked, where I shouldn't have been shocked, but I was shocked at the way Alfonso spoke to Lucrezia. He was like, don't question my authority in front of other people. And this was when someone was getting beat up, and the way it bubbled up from inside me, the anger, and it's still here, and I don't think this is going to go away for a long time. And I know that this book is going to stay with me for a long time to come. When you read fiction, when you read historical fiction, it's not always in isolation. You always have something to paint on the canvas with. There's an empty canvas, you're reading this book, and that canvas is getting filled as you read it, and you will not know it until a certain time, until your brain decides that, see, this is something that you need to make this connection, you need to look at this canvas, because this whole picture is a damn revelation. So yes, basically I am loving this book, and I think the next time you see me will be to wrap up my thoughts about The Marriage Portrait and to wrap up this whole vlog. So I'll see you in the next update. Hello there, and welcome to the final update for episode 3 of reading my favorite booktubers' favorite books. And just in the nick of time, that means just as July was about to finish, I managed to finish the third book for this vlog, which was The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. And I have such an immense amount of respect for how Maggie O'Farrell has written this story, because this is based in reality. Of course, a few details have changed here and there, but the way she has brought Lucrezia and everything around her to life, I do not have words to explain how much I admire this book. This book is slow, detailed, it captures so perfectly the atmosphere of the time, the climate, be it the social climate, the political climate, the familial climate, how patriarchal structures were in every single pillar of society, and how it literally ran the world, how men saw themselves, how they saw women, how they expected women to be, the things that were expected of women, especially if you were one of such stature as Lucrezia. She was the fifth child of the Grand Duke of Tuscany, and then she later went on to become the Duchess of Ferrara, and she was expected to bear heirs to the Duke of Ferrara, to Alfonso, and that is what society told her she needed to aspire to. And if she couldn't do that, if she couldn't give him heirs, then what was the point of her? And you have this very unsettling feeling from the beginning to the end, and it sort of takes over you. Every page that you read, you're like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? It's very thrilling in a fearful kind of way, because you are scared for Lucrezia, although this and all has already happened and gone. But in this book, you don't know what Maggie O'Farrell is going to do with the character. What is she going to do? Is this historical fiction going to stay true to history, or is it going to go imaginary? And when you finally reach the last 10 pages, the way my jaw dropped, because I was not expecting that. I was joyful as well as tearful, because that ending, and through that ending, there's this anger that simmers inside of you for Alfonso, because the kind of man that he was, you just want to reach into the pages and wring his neck. Towards the end, I was like, enough. That's enough. Enough, yeah. People will be like, oh, it was those times, Renaissance Italy, there was like, oh, many people were like that, most people were like that. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I can't feel anger towards him. That doesn't mean I don't want to punch him in the face for these things. I feel like I've covered pretty much all of my feelings about this book in this vlog, but I also feel like I'm missing something. But this is one such book that will make you think that it will transport you back into Renaissance Italy. It will make you think of vast plains and castellos and fortezas and whatnot, and it will have you imagining yourself in the dresses of those times. Although that my very imagination is like, do you really? But I'm also like, it's for effect. But that's the kind of effect that this book has on you. It transports you there through time and space, across time and space, across dimensions, and you are experiencing everything firsthand. You are seeing Lucrezia ride her mule in the gardens. You are seeing Alfonso storm into the castello. You are seeing him hold court. You are seeing Lucrezia sitting at her window. She's painting, she's writing letters, she's lying down in a bed, and everything comes to life in front of your eyes. It's because of Maggie O'Farrell's writing. She is fantastic. She takes time describing the things, she takes time describing the characters, she takes time describing the events. She's no hurry whatsoever. This slow pace in some books can be kind of irritating, but in books like this, in which it is done artfully, in which it is done with purpose, it is one of the best things ever. And that is one of the biggest things that I love about Maggie O'Farrell's book, The Marriage Portrait. So thank you, Sukhaja, for recommending this book to me. I love it so much, and I see why you love it too. This is going to stay close to my heart for a long time. One of my favorite historical fictions of all time. And now that we are at the end of the vlog, the score for this episode of me reading my favorite booktubers' favorite books is 3 out of 3 across the board. I love it. So that was episode 3 of me reading my favorite booktubers' favorite books. What did you think of this vlog? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you read any of these books? If you have, what did you think of them? If you haven't, would you like to pick any of these books up? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Also, don't forget to go give these 3 creators a follow if you aren't following them already. You will have the best of times, I promise you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.